All right, so today I was sitting in the office when my boss walked into my office and he says to me, You know, there are worse places than working at Evil Corp. And right before that, he had mentioned how people are being taken by ICE to slave camps, basically, where they're being sent to these countries to work labor jobs, hard labor jobs. And I thought if that's really the comparison that we have in today's society is at least you're not in a labor camp. Have we set the bar too low? It's like maybe comparing the day-to-day work that we do in America to a place like North Korea is better. But as we get poorer and poorer, and we decide that we can't afford ramen anymore, and breakfast is going to be two handfuls of clean dirt, preferably something that hasn't had a pet go number two in it, that's where we're setting the bar in this country. And it fascinates me, but it also frightens the hell out of me because a lot of corporations who are cutting back on staff members, well, they have to figure it out. Like one of the things that I learned very quickly while working at Walmart is that every corporation wants to do more with less. And that was actually a slogan that they used when I was working in retail. And it was something that was hilarious to me. I stopped at Kroger's on the way home, and the girl that was working the self checkout machines was wearing one of those Labubu dolls, those really ugly troll things that are really expensive and highly sought after. And she says to me, I can't afford that. So she was wearing a cheap knockoff version of them. And then I said to her, Well, anyone that works here probably can't afford one. And she just looked at me and frowned. And I'm like, I've worked here before too. I put shopping carts out in that parking lot for 11 months in the cold, in the heat, and everything in between. I nearly got run over every single day by distracted drivers. Sometimes I wonder how they keep people who push shopping carts for a living alive in the parking lot. Because there's a couple times where the sun just got to me. I had to lay down because the sun was just it was going to make me pass out. But this girl was very humble. She just looked at me. She didn't know my name, of course, or what I do on YouTube, but she looked at me and said, Do you think I want to work here? And this is what struck me about the last part of this 30-second conversation. She said this to me. I graduated from college last month, but no one will hire me because I don't have any experience. And she wasn't a very attractive person. Tall, 5'10" at least, but not attractive in the sense that she would be eye catching. I mean, it does. She did remind me that I needed to start brushing my teeth at night, though, because her teeth were yellow to a point where it was kind of freakish. But nothing about her spoke of any sort of beauty. But that's just me being shallow, of course, right? I've been told that 100 times that I need to lower my standards. And I'm like, 300 pounds with yellow teeth? I, I don't think so. I think I'm good. You know, the shaking hands with the governor every day is better than being called a chubby chaser. That's, yeah, I never understood that term. I mean, as long as no one sees what you're doing, when the lights go out, I mean, you should be able to do anything you want. Now, going out in public, bringing her to your parents' house, well, that's something different. One of the girls that works in the front office told me last week that her dad refers to her as chubby. I was like, that's mean. That's really mean. And it's not like she's young. She's 25 and her dad calls her Chubs or Chubby. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, that's one way to traumatize your child for the rest of their lives. All right, let's move on to our introductory monologue. I work full time, but I'm still broke. And honestly, I'm so tired of pretending that's normal. Every day I show up, smile, do the job, and then go home to a fridge with condiments and maybe one meal left. People keep saying, at least you have a job. Like that's supposed to be a win. But how is it a win if I can't afford rent or tampons? This isn't laziness. It's a broken system that pays just enough to keep us quiet, but not enough to let us live. I would have used the word thrive because ChatGPT really likes to use the word thrive. And as you guys can see, I don't have any place to put a tampon. These are all scripts written by ChatGPT. I have no idea why it chose that word, but it did. And I just read the script. So that reminds me of one of my work friends today. I was talking to her, and she told me that she really is that poor. Like, she depends on work to provide some of her female products because at the end of the month, there isn't a whole lot of eating. In fact, the other day she was telling me that she was eating her cereal with water because she couldn't afford milk. And I mean, these are the jobs we're supposed to be grateful for. The jobs that can be compared to a institutionalized hard labor, and that's what we compare life to, right? I mean, sometimes I wonder what evil corporations really think. I mean, remember, I worked at Walmart for 2.5 years. I know what it's like to be earning $300 a week, and that wasn't that long ago. I mean, life can get really, really bad for a lot of people very easily, and it doesn't matter if you went to college. That's why I use that example because I literally ran into the subject of a video. I was actually outlining this video last night while I was 3 sheets to the wind, and I opened up ChatGPT, and it's like, wow, that drunk me was still working in the middle of the night. Thanks, drunk me. Thumbs up. All right. Talking point number one. Just because someone has a job doesn't mean they have stability. Millions of full time workers are still in survival mode, living paycheck to paycheck, skipping meals, or taking on debt just to cover basics. The phrase, just get a job, is outdated and insulting in an economy where even full time work can't cover rent. That's actually something I said to that girl today at the Kroger's. I said to her, it's like, do you know how many times I was standing right where you are when I had a customer come up to me and tell me to get a job? I mean, it was humiliating because it wasn't followed up with, oh, I know this guy who's hiring for 100 grand a year. It was just like, are you dumb? Are you retarded? I mean, that was the impression I got called retarded in that grocery store at least once a week. It was so common to be called mentally deficient while you're earning the minimum wage because they look at the other people that are obviously mentally deficient and they assume that you're in the same category as them because you're not earning a living wage. Living wages aren't for everyone in our society. Living wages are for a select few, not you and me. Those wages that they pay us require you to work 2 to 3 jobs. In fact, I was just talking to one of my other work friends, and she was talking to me on Slack, the messaging system at work, and she wrote me. It's like, sorry, Millennial Steam, I gotta go. I gotta go out and do DoorDash. This is a person with a PhD who has a managerial position at Evil Corp. And after work, after at 4:30 exactly, she's got to go work 4 hours doing DoorDash with her husband. And then after that, she still has to come home and do more gig work. That's a person that's working that hard in America. Remember, PhD in what was her PhD in? I think it was in God, I can't remember what it was in. It's a liberal arts PhD, but she has a PhD and she's driving for DoorDash. Reminds me of my professor at community college who was teaching, was an adjunct teacher for the community college, but at night she worked for Target stocking shelves. Why? Because people can't afford to live. And the illusion of employment as stable, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, stability, financial stability and work stability don't exist in this world. That's why when Raquel yesterday in the live stream told me that she was semi retired. Even semi retired, she still has to work. And she will keep working until they put us into the hole, or as my strategy for retirement is, falling into a muddy ditch and being torn apart by stray dogs. That's the bitter end for Millennial Sting. I'm not going to get a fancy funeral. I'm not even going to get cremated. I'm going to go out the way that I was brought into this world, being torn apart by stray dogs. All right, talking point number two. The system was built to keep wages just low enough to maintain obedience. People are working more than ever. Overtime, weekends, gig work, side hustles, and yet they're still broke. This isn't productivity issue. It's a wage theft in broad daylight baked into capitalism. I actually just said that this morning, and I think I left in a comment that capitalism only works in this country because the people who have capital keep telling us how great it is. This country could definitely use a different system. I don't know what that system is. I don't think that communism is great. Socialism, well, look at Europe. I mean, there needs to be a system that rewards people for a 40-hour work week, or as I keep saying, I'm a strong advocate for the 1 day, 1 hour work week. Again, it makes as much sense as forcing people to work 40 hours a week. It's completely arbitrary. The 1 hour, 1 day work week should be institutionalized. People should have everything that they need. We shouldn't have to spend our lives at Evil Corp getting fleeced every morning at 8. Because frankly, I mean, I don't know what Fleece gets out of it anymore. I mean, he could probably shove like at least 10 hot dogs in there by now with all of the cover charge for corporate America. That's the cover charge now. So now you have to have a college degree and you have to get fleeced every morning. Remember, welcome to Pound Town. That's what it should say in the parking lot when you drive into Evil Corp. Any Evil Corp in America, in fact. I was watching a worker walk into work today wearing their uniform, and I'm like, yep, that person knows that it's time to assume the position because welcome to Pound Town. All right, talking point number three. Being broke while working full time isn't just financially draining, it's emotionally devastating. It creates shame, isolation, and burnout. People start believing they're failing when really the economy is failing them. And when everyone hides their struggle, it becomes easier for the system to keep pretending everything is fine. That statement right there reminds me of working in retail and someone would get hurt at work. But there were two things wrong with this. Number one, they don't have medical insurance. And number two, they can't afford to take the time off from Evil Corp. Evil Corp doesn't care if you're sick, if you're nothing about you matters to Evil Corp. I was going to start out by saying sick, hungry, broke. As long as you can show up and move your hands and move your legs and do the work, they don't care. If they had like wires that came out of the ceiling that they could move your arms and legs for you like a robot. Evil Corp would do that. Every morning you'd walk into work and they'd attach these brackets to your ankles and to your wrists. And all day long there would be a machine, an AI that would control your movements to make you 100% productive. That's what we are in the workplace to them. They're not even asking us to chase the carrot anymore. We're just getting the stick. And you know where you're getting the stick because every morning you go back there and you touch where it hurts. That's where the stick goes. And there's nothing you can do about it to improve your situation. Go to a different Evil Corp where they're more gentle with you? Absolutely not. Corporate America knows that the byproduct, which is humans once they are disposed of, right? Once you hit burnout, you are the byproduct of a system. that has worked you into mush. Remember the Soul Suck 3000? You know where the soul suck attaches to your body, right? We all know where the soul suck to 3000 attaches to the human body because we've all felt it. When we get home, we're tired, we're sad, we're angry. We don't have the energy to do anything else other than to come home, power down, and wait for 8 o'clock in the morning again. And somehow our soul comes back into our mouth and it gets slowly sucked out the other way every day, 8 to 12 hours a day. Also, shout out to Mello. She's been sitting on the tarmac at the airport waiting to leave from her vacation since I started talking to her this morning. Poor girl. The school president of my Evil Corp told me last week he sat on the tarmac for 2 hours too in the same city waiting for his plane to leave. And I kept teasing Mello to just push the airplane or drive it herself because it wouldn't move. She was just stuck there. I've never been on an airplane because where would I go? I mean, what? Where does a person with no money, no family, and no friends go? I mean, you're literally you're home poor, right? It's they call it. And this friend that this work friend that I have, she's she's that way too. You know, her vacations are spent sitting at home waiting for work to start. People like us don't go on vacations. We don't have nice things. We don't get into relationships. And that's another thing that kind of surprises me at meeting a lot of pro women is that they their standards are often high and they are waiting for someone that's going to financially take care of them. But let's face it, people, if our functional unemployment is at 25%, who are these ladies waiting for? Because they don't want to date Johnny Sixpack because they know what? Johnny Sixpack isn't the most loyal guy around. When it comes to Johnny Sixpack and loyalty, he has the um, I guess I would call him as saying that he has the morals of an alley cat, but that's saying too much. If Johnny Sixpack can go around with his seed anywhere he wants, right? There's no commitment when you're working at McDonald's, right? When you got that Mc paycheck, you're there to get some Mc taco, and that's it. Because the Mc paycheck isn't going to attract that Susie that you want. You're going to get the Susie that's in your price bracket. And most of us don't want that Susie. None of us want that Susie. But it's either eat that or you get nothing. And both genders, I'm not saying it's just men and women. I think most people understand that we've become part of the hookup culture. No one stays. It's the same way with employment. Everyone is looking for something better. Unfortunately, just like dating for pros, what you get is what you can afford. And most pro men don't like what they can afford. Let's just put it that way. You're not driving the car you want, you're not driving the Susie you want, and you're not living in the house that you want either. Everything about being a pro sucks. I mean, even the smell, right? Even the smell. Yesterday, when I was sitting here doing my live stream, I hadn't showered yet, and it was like noon, right? And I think I'd live streamed yesterday for like 2 hours. Oh, I could definitely smell myself. And when I asked the chat, who else is unshowered at noon? More than one person in the chat raised their hand to say, yep, that would be me. So let's close out with our final monologue here. If you're out there working full time and still feel like you're drowning, you're not alone. You're not crazy. You're part of a generation that was handed empty promises, rising costs, and jobs that steal your time while giving you nothing back. They want you to blame yourself for being poor, to stay quiet, to keep hustling for scraps, but the truth is louder now, and I'm done whispering my struggle just to make others comfortable. Remember what people tell me on this channel all the time. You just have to try harder. But every time you try harder, Guess who wins? Evil Corp. You don't get the rewards of working hard. All of that goes to Evil Corp. What you get at the end of every week is your Happy Meal toy and a McPaycheck. Here you go. Next week, work twice as hard, and we'll give you the same amount of money while taking away your health benefits or any sort of thing that makes your life better. You'll get more of the company monopoly money that you can use at the commissary to buy packets of ramen. The first time I heard about that, I was shocked, but it actually happened to one of the people that I still talk to every day. She was working at Bank of America, and she sent me a picture of monopoly money with her boss's face in the middle of the work dollars, right? And they could use these to exchange them for Starbucks cards or candy or whatever other thing was in the commissary at $1 billion corporation. I mean, how do you? I just that's in a whole nother video. I'm gonna stop here. I'm at the 20-minute mark. I hope you guys had a great day and that you put a little lotion back there to hopefully ease the pain tonight, and that know full well that at 8 a.m. it's time to assume the position.